Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Knowledge is Power. Our guest today is Lizzie Nicholson. Lizzie is a registered first light practitioner and a master shaman, having undergone 4+ years of intense training with the world-renowned teacher Franchel Osofsky-Reber in shamanic studies. She comes from a wealth of health knowledge in many areas, including mainstream health practice. Lizzie has developed her own introductory workshops and retreats designed to help you dive deeper into spiritual practice, release emotional wounds so that you can lead a more balanced, wise life. Lizzie is also a trained practitioner and a teacher of Rahani healing, a senior tropic ambassador, and she works one-to-one via Zoom or in person to identify treatment plan options, including essence blends designed to move you forward on your healing journey. Blends are made using sacred protocol from a selection of 184 plus essences and blessed using her master shaman symbol. She begins by identifying your date of birth personality outline unique to you. And all of her products used are freshly made, vegan, and natural. Welcome, Lizzie.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
I'm so excited to have you today and to learn more about shamanism and how you got there. And before we get all the way there, how about if you start with your journey that led you there?
Sure. I mean, it's a huge topic, shamanism, but basically many shamans hear the call, which is basically a series of synchronistic events that kind of lead you to this path. And very often anyone from any walk of life can become a shaman. And it's usually that we like to spend time alone, you know, you really enjoy your own company, but it's also that strong connection to nature and all things natural, watching for signs. And very often there's a deep wound that kind of wakes you up to that next level of wanting to pursue it even further. And that was me, really. It basically was following on from the death of my mum, and my little boy got really sick, and I just wanted to find something that was, of a deep nature to try and look at the wounds. And from there, I learned a lot about energetic attachment, how our emotions kind of stop us from moving forward. And it's basically becoming human again, which sounds crazy, but I think we've learned in this last century that we should hide our emotions, not be our real self. People can't cope with the stress. People can't deal with you. But actually, it's about getting back to that authentic part of you that we all are. And a shaman helps others, be guiding those that are stuck in the process from grief, pain, trauma, so that they get through to the other side. So we talk a lot about dark nights of the soul. That's it. It's those periods of time where you think, oh my goodness, I need help here. So that's what a shaman is, really. And we have various forms of plant medicine, and one of them, I mean, you can see them in the back here, the first light medicines. These are just a few select ones, and we choose up to 7 to 10 blends for each bottle. So, and I make it up for the person relating to the date of birth as a starting point.
So tell us a little bit more about why the date of birth and how that works with the essences.
Okay, I mean, this is part of our training as well, and it's a formula that we use that Franchel has come up with. I mean, she is an amazing person. She talks to plants. She has very special gifts. She has a bespoke school for shamanism, medicine woman, and the like. And obviously the first light essences are the medicine that we all use through our training. So the date of birth brings up a unique blend for you, which is a flower. Now, everyone has a power flower. So that is your most positive trait. And then there's a seed essence, a tree essence. Trees help balance the chakras, seeds work on the DNA, plants help us with spiritual growth. And then we have the ferns, which kind of cleanse anything from our aura, things like grief that comes in, you know, bad energy. When you walk into a house, you might pick up something from the house or from a relationship. We need to start cleansing from the outside, and then we work on a deeper level inside. So the blend, it's incredible. It's an astrological makeup. So it's very, very, you know, it shows your shadow self traits along with your positive self traits. So that is the basis of being human. You know, if we fall to the shadow side and we get stuck in that wound, that horrible breakup, that grief cycle, then we can't shine. So many people are walking around stuck in that process. But actually, if we can bring ourselves back to balance, you know, positive and negative, then we can shine as our authentic self. So, I mean, there's a lot more involved in it, but that is the basis of where we start. We need to rein in the ego, you know, clear the emotions from our body, our mind, and then we can see what are our most positive traits that we can help us forward. And a really good analogy for that is basically, if we have an out of control personality, this is when we see this in the workplace where people are getting triggered from each other. You know, that person is shouting at the other person. Yeah. And very often, you know, we draw these situations to ourselves because it's actually shining a light, but we don't realize it until we start going deeper, that person is actually a teacher. So whatever you're seeing or whatever you're mirroring in your life, in your workplace, or wherever it is, then it's about an element of you that you need to kind of look at and, you know, just work out what it is exactly that this person is triggering in you. And that's kind of a simplified process of what we do as a shaman as well. And the essences actually help us bring that back, because we can remember past memories, our dream state talk to us, and then when we remember, we can let it go.
So in a situation that you just described in the workplace, if I had an essence, how would I use that? Is it topical? Is it oral? Is it inhaled? How does it work?
Good question, because a lot of people think, oh, is it like an essential oil? But no, it's actually you take it under the tongue 3 times a day. So in our training, we take it with the sun cycle, so the sunrise, midday, or the evening. But many people, until they're getting into a pattern of, you know, a new habit, we kind of say twice a day, so that you actually remember. And what I always do in my treatments is that I give a person a mantra. I use my intuition a lot when I'm making up the blend. So alongside the date of birth blend, I also add in other ones if I think, oh, this person's got grief to clear, because the grief is going to hold us back. So it's working on whatever is presented at that time. So you take it under the tongue, you bring your mind into alignment with the plant, and when you are asking permission for the plant to work with you, that's the sacred relationship you're making, and it's way more powerful. And the other good thing to know is that there is a healing cord within each plant essence. And even the plant essences are gathered through sacred, what we call karakia, which is a special song and protocol, and they're taken from very sacred places, never in a toxic environment. So permission is always sought.
So I failed to mention at the beginning that Lizzie, you can probably tell, is coming to us from across the pond today. But I understand you're about to embark on a new adventure. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, yes, this has been a long time coming, actually. I'm returning to New Zealand, to Nelson, to build my house and therapy space and start retreats and workshops. And this is a vision I've had for many years. So it's finally happening. And synchronistically, even 2 weeks ago, I was chosen to have a feature page in the retreatsandvenues.com website, which is a Canadian website. So look out for me there. And I aim to start running this, obviously, when the house is completed, but probably from next year.
Okay.
So, and Nelson,
will you be growing some of these plants, or what is the plan?
I hope to, but it's a whole process of the way they're made. But I will have some of the plants and trees, but we have it in our backyard anyway because we're surrounded by 3 beautiful national parks. So part of the exercise that I will do when people come to my workshops or retreats is to go out into nature. We'll do meditation. We will, connect with the trees, and because I think that's far more powerful in their environment. So yeah.
Well, that's exciting, and we want to hear more about that and the retreats. That sounds very, very therapeutic. I'm trying to think. I know you came from a more conventional background in healthcare originally. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm an occupational therapist and I have been for over 20 years. But interestingly enough, we have the same philosophy. It's working that the person is a mind, body, spirit. It's not that sore arm or that sore leg. And the philosophy there is basically encouraging people to get back to their independent state. And that's acknowledging their family relationships, all of that makes us human. And I did my thesis on plant medicine there because New Zealand is a bicultural country. Many people speak Maori. We have our health in Maori language. We embrace the mind, body, spirit. So it's a beautiful combination, really.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be lovely. Do you have a name for your place, your new place?
Well, my business is called Essence, spelt with NZ in the middle. So probably it'll be just listed as that. So
Sure.
yeah.
So as I mentioned in the introduction, in addition to one-to-one in person, you're doing Zoom consultations. And how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, that's been amazing. I mean, obviously, everybody in the world has been affected by COVID. So, a lot of our, even the schools that Franchell runs as well, are run online. It's a cyber school, it's state of the art. And what I use is Zoom, or people email me, or they contact by phone. I work with people all around the world. So, it's going to be amazing because that's the one thing I want to get back to, though, is actually seeing people in person. And I do lots of therapy as well. I do meditation. That's one of my gifts. I have channeled meditations that come through. I work very intuitively. I run treatments. I'm guided really by spirit and also the person that presents. So my favorite is, people that are waking up to the spiritual and they just don't know which way to go forward. Or alternatively, people that have deep, deep wounds. They understand a lot of the spiritual concepts, but they need deeper work. So
those would be some of the people in our audience listening today that might consider a consultation. And what other conditions or states are drawn to you?
Well, a wide variety, and this is the interesting thing about our work. We draw people to us that actually help us on our own journey. It's a never-ending journey, right? So that's another thing that we recognise. I work with young children as well. I mean, teenagers right through to elderly. So there's no limit. But many people that are drawn to the retreats that I've run are those that have had some kind of major trauma in their lives, of an emotional state. So it's really lovely to see people thinking, whoa, I've got a different way of actually processing this, and I can actually make the connection to move forward. And the other beautiful thing with the essences is that it's like a stepping stone. So, I don't necessarily hold the work I do with that person. They're more entitled to go off and do other things as well. That's part of it. But I have many clients that have been with me for 5 years. So yeah, but I'm always.
Do you work with children?
I do. My son, he's been on essences most of his life, and he's very, we still go through the emotional challenges, don't get me wrong. Teenagers are very difficult, right?
Yes.
He's a very wise boy, and he's able to verbalize his feelings, which, he's been through a lot of trauma actually you know, for a boy that's 14, but he's able to verbalize and process things a lot quicker,
Yes.
which is fantastic. So
where can people find you right now in the internet?
Right, well, it's probably better for people to contact me on my email, because I have a website which is ready to go. It's in the search engine. That's www.essencetherapies with the NZ.com, but you'll just see a holding page for that. So my email is the same, essencetherapies@gmail.com. But obviously I will be transitioning to New Zealand on the 20th,
Yes.
and I'll be in quarantine, but I'm more than happy to see people or
Sure.
speak to them at least while there. And I'm offering free consultations. That's just part of what I do for the time being. So for the next probably 3 months, I'll be offering that.
Well, that's very generous of you. And I encourage those listening in our audience to take advantage of Lizzie's free consultation. I had one myself, and I think you'll really enjoy it, and open up your heart and mind to a new way of dealing with stress, trauma, or if you just want to get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing to know as well is that a lot of people think that facing, deep wounds or deep pain is really hardcore, but the essences actually make it a lot easier for you to move through things. And I will be there to guide you. Part of my work is that I check in with people, or they can check in with me to make meaning of their dream state, because very often, if we're busy, we might miss the subtle nuances. And what happens is the essences raise your vibration so that you will attract circumstances that are happening in the physical, which actually are designed to make you think, whoa, that's triggered me. This is what I'm actually working with right now. So it's so magical. And, the retreats are like another step beyond. We have so many things just magically happen. And we use a lot of creativity through our retreats as well. And when I say we, I work with my really good friend who's a Reiki master, and my sister's a beautiful artist. So she's going to be helping with some of the creative exploration. So there's a number of ways that we deal with it. And, it's about getting you to that safe place as well on the other side. So you're not left traumatized. We have tools to kind of help you come back to center, but then you just carry on working on yourself. So
before we conclude, Lizzie, is there something you would like to share that I haven't asked you with our audience?
Right. I mean, there's so many aspects. I'd just like to say there's so many aspects to shamanism. We connect in with the elements. We look at messengers, and that's the animal world, the bird world. If you think about birds, if you're seeing them in your vicinity, or if they're tapping on the window, for example, that's, take notice of your thoughts, because they're air birds. Whereas earth animals, that's about your physicality, grounding. You might need grounding. Emotions, that's usually around water. So if you have things that go on in your house, even if you have a drain pipe that's overflowing or a leak, that's to do with your emotional state. So we look at, it's really incredible. And the same with your car. If you have things going wrong, you need it recalibrating. That means your energetic state needs recalibrating. And there's tons of insights like that I help you guide through. And I've had so many wonderful magical experiences with, nature and animal messengers. So it's not that magical. Crazy. It's just, it's incredible, and we have it every day, things to tell us and help us through the day, but we just forget about it. We don't notice it. We're too busy. We have to take time to be. Yeah, just tuning into yourself. And that's the difference, I think, between Eastern and Western. We guide people to think that you are the wise person. You have the answers. Your body will tell you. Your body carries all the things that you need to do. So it's about listening in, so that you're not giving your power away, going to that professional, this professional. It's listening to your heart and mind and soul. So it's a beautiful process. Oh, well, I encourage again everyone to get in touch with Lizzie. We will put her contact information with this below this video,
And we hope that this has helped you and opened your heart to some new ways of looking at things. And Lizzie, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you. It's been wonderful. And I really look forward to meeting some of you and working with you.
And wishing you all the best in your new moves to New Zealand.
Thank you. Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you out there.